Greetings, everyone. It is me, your host, Thomas Price. Sorry, I had to angle this just a bit. We are on episode 38 of Lines on a Page, in which we're going to be creating and drawing a dragon from scratch through a couple different dice rolls. Now, if you are wondering why I am not in Haven, well, that's because I'm currently at home. And please try not to think about the chairs behind me. There is a very slow kitchen renovation that's happening, so that's why the chairs are right here. And you might also be seeing a bag of Haven comics right over here, stuff that I bought today, which, for those of you who missed out on those sales, shame on you. Okay. So, that being said, we're going to just go straight into it. And but before I can get to that, we are going to be doing some quick housekeeping stuff. So, Haven Comics is located at 1871 Slaughter Road in Madison, Alabama. And if you happen to like the show and any other show that we do, please remember to like and subscribe. And if you're wondering where you can find me on social media, you can find me through my link tree, tpriceartworks, or as you can see, there's my handle at tpriceartworks, which you can find me everywhere on social media, including some newer places on social media and also on Patreon. So we're going to get straight to it, and did a couple different things. So we're only using 2 dice, which is one less considering what we did with the fantasy creature. And of course, I don't have like an actual dice tray, so I had to pull out a Tupperware. So in order to make this super simple and super easy for not just for me, but also for you, a person that just either just does drawing as a hobby or even as a professional, I'm really only going to do 4 different things. I'm thinking about the type of dragon I want to draw, and that is not regarding prismatic or metallics. If you're hoping for that, I'm sorry, I'm going to let you down. But there's only 3 different types of dragons, and I'll get to that part later. So I'm only thinking about the type of dragon, the age of the dragon, a alignment of some sort, which how you draw it kind of does point across what kind of personality it has. And then we've got like a small little personality mood modifier that kind of adds into it. So, dragon type. Now, I have heard the joke from the talk shop in terms of regardless of which one I draw or which one I feel I am more particular to do, someone's going to naysay and try to create some chaos with that. I hate to break it to you, but I have no preference. That being said, there are 3 different types of dragons. So we've got your 2 different Western types, and then there's 1 Eastern type. So if I roll a 1 or a 6, it's going to be 4 legs with wings. If I roll a 2 or a 5, it's 2 legs with wings, so which is usually known as a wyvern. It's a fantasy. And then if I roll a 3 or a 4, we're going to be dealing with an Eastern type dragon. So that's 4 legs, no wings. Not to be confused with Falcor from Neverending Story, but I can see the similarity there. So here we go. We'll figure out which one we've got. And it looks like we're drawing an Eastern dragon. All right. Was not expecting that. Roll the 4. So I'm going to mark now. So we've got an age. So we've got hatchlings, which is basically is just born. So usually about the size of a small dog. Roll a 2 would be it's young. So it's probably about the size somewhere between a pony and a horse. If I roll a 3, it would be full-fledged adult, so it's going to be larger than an elephant. And then if I roll a 4, it's practically ancient, so it's you know, brontosaurus, whale, behemoth, larger than life. So we shall figure out the age. And it is a 3. We've got an adult Eastern dragon. Should be interesting. All right. Now we've got the alignment. So if it's going to be good, if it's just going to be neutral, or if it's going to be chaotic, basically. Or, well, I say good, I mean lawful, but you guys know what I mean, right? Maybe. And we've got a 3. So it is chaotic. So we got a bad guy on our hands. Now we're going to get into a quick little personality mood modifier. So if I roll a 1, it's going to be intelligence. So that can be anything from it likes reading books to very magical type things. So, think of if you play Magic the Gathering, Nith Mizzet would be a perfect example. If I roll a 2, it has royalty. So it could be treated as anything as a god king or a straight up deity. If I roll a 3, it's basically wild. So in other words, like let's say you accidentally stumbled upon like a bear in the wild, and the bear senses that you're in his territory and it's protecting his territory. It has to attack. So just think of it that way. And then 4, it's just straight up evil. It does not care. So it is intelligent. All right. So we have an adult Eastern dragon that is basically a bad guy, and it's intelligent. So this is going to be interesting. So for any of you purists out there that think that, well, it's not a dragon because it doesn't have wings, well, you're wrong, because there are lots of mythological texts that show otherwise. All right. So that being said, we are going to go straight to the drawing board. Now, I will definitely say that it doesn't matter how it is of what you're using to draw, as long as it's able to make a mark on a page. So, I mean, if you've got a notepad, if you've got, regular stock copy paper, or if you've got a tablet with a drawing program on there, it works. It puts, lines on a page, then it's pretty obvious that it's going to do the job. So this is going to be very interesting. If you don't mind, I'm going to have a swig of soda. So I'm thinking, because it's an Eastern dragon, it's more likely going to be flying through the sky. I think I'm probably going to put something on there to make it seem like it has some sort of, I guess it comes off a bit more magical than it should be, maybe. This is going to be interesting. All right. Congrats to myself. Kind of put myself on a interesting stump. All right. So, one of the big things that I like doing whenever I am drawing dragons, regardless of what it is, I like having my dragons with a bit more of a pronounced, elongated face, whereas like a dragonborn character is a little bit more snub nose, and that's just because it's humanoid. So we're going to be going off of basic shapes. So we've got skull here, and we are basically going to have the neck, excuse me, slender down this way, and yeah, we've got chest body area right here, in which we've got spine area leading down to pelvis. And legs. And we're going to put a little bit of foreshortening right here with the arms and the claws. All right. And one of the interesting things about these Eastern dragons is that the horns aren't really like, your typical horns. It's actually more like antlers. So that kind of gives it a bit of an interesting thing. Now, keep in mind, this is just my take on this type of creature, and it's not meant to be wholly accurate because, got to keep in mind, it's all fictional. And that is, just using your brain, making it creative, I guess. Well, I say I guess. I should know. All right. Running a little bit out of page space, but that's totally fine. All right, so we've got the building blocks for our dragon per se, and I am just trying to tighten up these basic shapes so that we basically get the idea. And think I'm going to probably change up skull just a little bit, because this is still a drawing of a dragon if it's not, roaring its head off. All right. And the eye is going to be right about here. Now, like I said earlier, I'm not really worried about the color of what it's going to be looking like or anything like that, because we're just going to be focusing on just the line work. All right, so now that we've got that kind of figured out, I'm going to create another layer, and we're basically going to be just focusing on these lines and try to make them have some sort of depth. Give it some kind of life to it. So I think the best thing that we can do is just attack this in sections, because a lot of moving parts going on here. All right. So this is coming off really sketchy, but that's fine. Now, one of the things I like to do, regardless of what kind of dragon I'm drawing, is to kind of give off a bit of a nod to the nose part, specifically the nostrils. And if you look at a snake, it's got multiple areas of what looks like the nostril area. And I had no idea that even existed until probably about 2-3 years ago. And it just blew my mind that snakes have that. So ever since then, kind of thought about that with creatures, like dragons or even dinosaurs, if they even had something like that going on. Which, by the way, I should mention, if you happen to hear any sort of droning type of background noise, it's actually coming from this tower fan that is over here to my right. That thing has been a lifesaver this summer from just working in this room. Hey, hey, how you doing, James? Also, because I feel like doing this, I think we should definitely do this because James is now popped into the chat, and I'm hoping I got the right one. Just for you, James. Just for you. Dying from your allergies, man. That is sucky. So you totally missed it, James. But before I even started the live thing, I noticed that the normal countdown that we had mysteriously disappeared. So I honestly miss it. But at the same time, I am still waiting on a certain Nick Ellis to get back with me in terms of creating a new intro specifically for this show. Which there's only one sound effect that I can use right now because I haven't heard back from Nick Ellis about this.
Boo!
I have no idea who put up these sound effects, but it wasn't until Alan had um, put up the hee hee one from a couple nights ago that was just like, oh, this is here. I got to be good. I don't want to overuse it. And I'm not liking the open mouth part so much. So I'm going to go back to a closed mouth. Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. All right, so let's see. All right, so because I have stated that it is a Eastern Dragon, courtesy of the dice roll, um, one of the things the Eastern Dragons are most notably known for are the, I'm just going to call it facial hair. It's just, they've got the almost like a Fu Manchu thing going on. Maybe it's like antenna or something, or it just could be whiskers. I really don't know. I have never once found anything that just kind of gave me the, I guess, an impression of it's one thing over another. So let's might have to alter this just a bit. And of course, I'll be cleaning up some of these lines as well. So don't feel like these are permanent. Because if you've never watched anything that I've done, chances are you would understand that this is definitely, I guess, the understanding that any line can be corrected. Dude, it just, I guess it really depends, either Chinese or Japanese folklore or any other Southeast Asian country. I mean, it could be anything at this point. I'm not set on what it is. I just know that uh, Eastern dragons, no wings at all. And antlers. Forgot about that part. But because we are drawing a an evil dragon, got make some stuff look a little sinister. I've got these a little bit too spaced out. All right. So one of the things that I think it's kind of prevalent. People drawing dragons. The outer most what's the term? Is it the dorsal? That's the back area. I think that's what it is. Anyways, um, think of drawing creatures with scales, whether it's reptiles, amphibians, fish, dinosaurs. Um, think of it like a suit of armor, because this area right here is going to be more like plate, and then the underside right here is going to be kind of like chainmail. It's there's going to be some difference to how this is going to get put together, but that is the gist of it. And I'm just putting that line there just so I can remember how I'm putting this thing together. Yep, no wings, can still fly. You can definitely think Chinese and Japanese folklore, or you can think Falcor. And I'm just waiting for someone to start singing the theme to Neverending Story. Mm-hmm. And I will get back to that part later. In fact, I'm going to change this. that. Okay. Now, because I kind of have him or her in this pose is just kind of coming at you, a little bit flying, there is going to be some foreshortening, and we're definitely going to be dropping in some heavy shadows. But I at least want to get this part as visually enticing as possible. Yeah, I'm just putting these little texts right here just so I remember where the kind of like the top of the scales are going to be. And of course, last but not least is going to be the uh, tail fin section. I don't know. Some people like fur. Other people like it to be more kind of fish membrane y. So we'll just cross that bridge when we get there. All right. So we're going to focus on these scale sections, which I'm going to get rid of that previous thing that we did. I'm going to clean this up. All right, so since I mentioned that the intelligence thing was also can work as, say, magic, I think at some point I'm going to be, I guess, creating some sort of like scarring that looks like, glyphs or something. Maybe something in the language that it um, only it can understand. Uh, to quote Frodo Baggins, keep your secrets. Okay, so I think what I will do is I'm going to come at this with probably some sort of kind of like a marker. That'll work. Yeah. So I'm going to block in, since I had mentioned that, it's going to be evil. Might as well use black to our advantage and just start blocking in some color. And I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. All right. Well, this area down here is obviously going to get blacked out, so not really liking that. It's a little bit too washed out. Let's use, that's odd. There we go. All right. Now you're probably wondering, uh, how can I do this with a pencil? Um, if you happen to have a really thick lead, or you can just put your pencil, not really point down towards the paper, but basically holding your pencil like this and just going across it will also kind of create this kind of gradient, which you can go back with a harder eraser, um, and basically lighten up the areas that you want, or you can even use a charcoal stick. Um, if you're a person that's into stuff like smudging, that also works. So I am just kind of airbrushing these areas right here. And I will be going over them with some kind of, excuse me, a lighter white to really push areas that are going to have some depth. right, so now that that's there, I am just going to be going over some areas that I feel like are going to be more adept with shading and shadows. I'm really just pushing the values on this just a bit. Let's see here. I am going to do a really quick background. I can get a size that I like. And that should work. All right. And we're going to get back onto the train. Focus on this stuff. Let's see here. I'm trying to remember which of the. I think it's this one. Double check. Ooh, nope. There it is. All right. So I'm going back in with this kind of watercolor of sorts, just add some more dramatic values to this, which this ink if you're not even using watercolors. Again, you can use pencils for this. You can use charcoal. You can use markers, especially if they're like gray tone type markers. So there's loads of different ways that you can do this. But in some ways, I am kind of creating a texture, which this could be done with circles of any shape and size. But I will state that the bigger the areas of the body, because again, think like, a suit of armor, the areas that are going to plate over are going to be the more bigger of the scales, and then the areas that could be looked at as like chainmail would be smaller circles for sure. So definitely keep that in mind when you are doing this. So I'm trying to blend in some of this stuff, and I don't want to get bogged down with the details, which is super easy. So I'm going to go back to my Whoops. There you go. All right. Now we're going to be going back to the pencils, and I am just going to be going over some spots. Very much doing elements of just stippling and hatching to create texture. And of course, we're going over line weight. Which, if you want to learn a little bit more about line weight, I have done a previous episode on that. Which is both on my Facebook and on the Haven Comics YouTube page. So, if you want to learn more about that, it is definitely there. And I would say go watch it. Darken up this area down here. Not just because of the line weight, but also the scales. And of course, it's going to have to be in shadow. Hey, I tried to invite a friend to watch you who is not part of the group. Yeah. So, Jay, that's actually a private group page. The only reason I did that was just because I was wanting to kind of keep it secluded. There is or should be a way for you to invite him, but the thing is that um, I guess just anything that has been posted by me on my private page, it's not going to show up anywhere else. You're not going to be able to tag anyone because they won't be able to see it. So, um, and for those of you who are watching, this is referring to the Between the Lines group page. This is not my normal art page that's on the rest of social media. Okay, so we're going to go back and darken up some places. make sure I got the right line weight for this. So we are almost to the finish line of this thing, which is actually quite nice because I was half expecting it to be a much longer ordeal. Hey, thank you, David. Oh, before I forget, it's your mid-show requirement too. Please remember to like and subscribe if you haven't done that already, because apparently I've got to do this too. Whenever you guys are, commenting in the stream, sharing this video, uh, all that stuff, it actually does show up, and it lets other people know that, hey, this is happening. I might want to watch it too. So don't think for a moment that, it doesn't work, it doesn't matter, because it does. All right, so basically just throwing in these slightly more defined lines. Of course, I love the fact that I'm about an hour and 15 minutes into this. And I kind of wish I was doing this on paper. And I'm sure there's someone out there who's just like, yes, I agree. You should have done this on paper. I can learn it too. Well, we'll do that for the next one. Now the crazy part is that I'm going to be trying to possibly go back into this background, darken it up just a bit, and I'll be going over those antlers in a moment. Not sure I'm digging that. All right, back to Les Etlers. And we're going to darken these up. Let's see here. Do have a question. Has anyone that is watching seen the new Blue Beetle movie yet? Because I do want to try and see that before it, like in the theater, before it hits streaming. That's something that it's definitely appealed to me. Let's see what this does. Okay. Also, I'm pretty sure I'll be asked this question at some point if I'm have any sort of events or cons that I'm going to be at this fall or winter. And it was a yes, then became a no, and now I think there's a maybe in there somewhere. Sorry if that did not answer anyone's question. Um, so I originally had plans to drive to Baltimore, not for Artist Alley, but just to see friends and get stuff signed. And unfortunately, won't be making it to Baltimore this upcoming weekend. But I am going to be making if I can speak, the pilgrimage to go down to, or up, I should say, to Memphis at the end of the month. A couple of people I know are going to be at the Artist Alley uh, that I definitely want to see before the end of the year. And the legendary Jim Cheong is also going to be there. So I'm going to get my copies of Scion trades, and I think also maybe some singles, and get those signed by him. And if Josh is willing to trust me with those original pages of Scion, possibly get those signed by him. Because I'm not going to lie, he knows that I've had my eye on those original pages. Which, if any of you have never read Scion before, you definitely need to pick up a trade, and definitely, definitely recommend you reading it. It's by a now defunct company called CrossGen, which I believe ended up getting some of its properties bought out by Marvel, and unfortunately, there was talks about rebooting some of the stuff, and it was terrible. It was like certain stories they were trying to turn into like young adults, like literally appealing to kids, young adults, and it was just horrendous. They totally butchered stuff like Mystic. uh, I know they butchered that. They kind of butchered Meridian, which was really no point because it was already aimed for a younger audience to a degree. Um, yeah, but anyways, all that aside, um, Jim Cheong did most of, if I say most, I want to say a healthy 80% of that series before CrossGen claimed bankruptcy um, in the early 2000s. And but yeah, Cheong did just amazing work on that, and it was one of the first things regarding those comics that it was one of a few different comics that definitely drew me back into comics as a whole, or at least Western comics, I should say. At that time period, I was very gung ho into manga, so I was picking up a lot of um, series that probably a little bit too young to be reading, but whoops. Um, so we got a couple of comments in the chat. Uh, Guessing you're referring to Blue Beetle. So yeah, I haven't missed the last time once in the movies. Yeah, which I mean, I'm very super far behind with stuff that is either just came out or was in the theater. The last thing I've seen in the theaters was the Indiana Jones film, which was fantastic. Um, which, speaking of fantasy comics and um, stuff that's out, there are some really good titles that are out right now. Um, so please definitely stop by Haven Comics and get some of these titles. Definitely don't want to be missing out on the conversation. Um, First and foremost, the new Conan the Barbarian, Jim Zub, who, which if you do not know, stuff that he's been working on as of late, he's done most, if not all, of the Dungeons and Dragons comics that have came out within the last decade. Um, so I mean, he's done that. I think he did the Rick and Morty D&D comic. Don't quote me on that. I think he did. I don't remember. He also did a comic called Skull Chasers with Edwin Huang, who, if you aren't following him on social media, he goes by Iron Pinky. And Edwin's been just killing it with the stuff he's been doing with Udon for some Capcom stuff. Most of this artwork has been turned to sideshow statues. So if you've gotten any of his Chun Li or Cammy, or even some of his Mortal Kombat ones, which are equally impressive, you definitely need to check him out. But anyways, Jim Zub is writing the new Conan the Barbarian series. Roberto De La Torre is just. I literally thought I was reading a reprint because it looked like John Buscema's work, and I had to double check. But no, it's De La Torre. It's his stuff, and that caught me off guard. Actually, not with this first issue, but in the issue 0 that came out during Free Comic Book Day. And yeah, so that instantly got me hooked. And so far, solid first issue. Issue 2 is supposed to be coming out pretty soon. So can't wait to read that. Let's see what else is there. There's also another one called The Hunger in the Dusk. And so far, it's only 2 issues out right now. The second issue came out last week, and we still have copies of that over at Haven Comics if you'd like to pick one up. Um, if you are a fan of just high fantasy, um, if you're a fan of World of Warcraft, um, if you're a fan of what was I thinking of? Dragon Age, yeah, then you're definitely going to like The Hunger in the Dusk. All right, so I'm going to be putting in some little effects here and there. Okay, James. Seats for Blue Beetle were packed. Yep. That was basically the case for both Barbie and Oppenheimer. What is going on? Really? Oh, I think I know what it is. I'm gonna do this instead. There we go. Gotta get that sinister eye, since this is a evil Eastern dragon. And put in some little effects here and there. Some scraggly teeth. And but yeah, Hunger into Dusk, definitely recommend it. There was one more fantasy comic that I was thinking of. I feel really bad because it's on my pull list and I just don't remember. This one is actually not for little kids. It's called Death Dealer, and it's through Opus, which they've been doing all of the comics based off of Frazetta's paintings, world building, or whatever. So yeah, definitely not for little kids. And which, on the opposite side of the coin, if you have seen the fantasy movie Fire and Ice, they have just released. They being the company Dynamite has released their version of the Fire and Ice story, but it's storytelling and prequel events before the movie. So that is actually pretty interesting, and I am quite curious as to where they're going to continue on going with it. All right, so let's. And I'm just, scribbling. Because I would think with a dragon trying to create magic or symbols or whatever, and it's probably just using whatever they use as their dominant claw to make the stuff work. Liking that very much. Let's figure with this kind of dragon where it comes from, and this probably has its fair share of hidden languages and secrets unbeknownst except for him. see if that. Hmm. There we go. All right, so there we have it. It's right there. And I'm actually kind of glad that this came out as good as it actually did. I got a little bit worried there when I rolled for the Dragon's Hive, and of course I ended up with an Eastern Dragon. All right. So I hope you actually learned something from this. If you have any questions as far as just where I was wanting to go with this, or figuring out the basic blocks of trying to create a creature, please let me know. Send me messages. I'll try to answer any and every question as humanly and as quickly as possible. Um, in case any one of you just happen to be under a time constraint with something that you're working on, or what have you. But here it is, our, what is it? Our adult, Eastern, intelligent, bad dragon. So, thank you guys again so much for having to come out and spending your time watching this while I'm here in the comfort of my home. If you are happen to be one of those people that are coming back in from Dragon Con, I hope you had fun. Travel safe. And last but not least, a couple of different things before I go. Um, First things first is that my next print for the month of October is going to be the Resident Evil 25, Resident Evil 2 25th anniversary print, and that's going to be coming out, if not the end of this month, and definitely the beginning of next. Please let me know if you want to get a copy in advance. Secondly, is that I want to be dropping off the prompt for the month of October. It's going to be a daily prompt, black and white artwork. It is going to be on the spooky side. It is going to be on the fantastical side. And if I can get away with it, nothing but original art. So that's going to be dropping as well. Still trying to narrow down exactly what I'm going to make the theme for that to be, but I do have an idea of where I'm wanting it to go. So more details about that soon, within the next week or two. There are 3 different people with blanks that I am trying to finish as quick as I possibly can, hoping to get all of that sent out within this week and next. So I have not forgot about you guys. Don't worry. And last but not least, if you happen to have a box at Haven Comics, please, please, please stop by at Haven Comics during store hours. Check out the stash of your box, see what's there. We have been trying to get in contact with a couple different people, and we're hoping that they see them. Or they just hopefully have not forgotten about these boxes. But we want to make sure that the comics that you guys are wanting get into your hands. So please get in contact with Josh as far as the stash of your box, and we will do everything we possibly can to try to get that to you. So, all that being said, I want to end off tonight's show with the ending part of housekeepings. Haven Comics, located at 1871 Slaughter Road, Suite F in Madison, Alabama. If you happen to like the show, any other show that we happen to do, please remember to like and subscribe, clicking the bell notification, sharing it, commenting it whenever we go live. It doesn't just help us out immensely, but it also helps other people find out what we're doing right now. And it's weird, but the algorithm actually does kind of share this stuff out. And when other people are noticing that other people are watching on it, they're liking the video that they're seeing right then, right here, right now, which I'm hoping that you're doing right here and right now. If you're commenting on it when we're going live, that draws people in, and we want anyone and everyone to see our videos. So all that being said, if you want to figure out where you can find me on social media, you can go to my link tree at tpriceartworks is my handle on everywhere on social media, including a Patreon, which I'll be uploading some stuff throughout this month to my subscribers. And which, if you are a subscriber, one of the perks of being that is that you do happen to get any prints that I happen to do in advance before everyone else. So keep that in mind. All that being said, thank you guys again, and I will see you in the next episode. Until then, have a great week.